Aerial shot of a Florida neighborhood, identical single-family homes, all with the same dark roof, same white garage door. One home in the middle has a new lockbox on the door. The camera zooms in. $1.2 million. That's how much BlackRock paid for this house in Miami last year. The same house BlackRock bought for $475,000 2 years ago. The screen freezes. The lockbox clicks open. Cut to black. Silence. Then a woman's voice, strained, exhausted. Marthariva. They raised my rent $800 in 3 months. I'm 72 years old. My husband's on dialysis. We can't leave. Where else can we go? Cut to Martha standing in her kitchen holding her phone. The camera lingers on the cracked tile floor, the peeling paint on the cabinets. She's not looking at the camera. She's looking at a notice on her counter. Marthariva. They said the new owner raised the taxes, but the house didn't change. The roof didn't cave in. The sink didn't flood, so why is my rent going up? The camera pulls back. The notice on the counter is a property tax appeal form. BlackRock's logo is stamped in the corner, flashed to a satellite map of Miami-Dade County. Red pins pop up across the screen, over 100,000 of them. Each pin marks a home owned by a Wall Street firm. The map zooms out. The red pins spread like a virus across Florida, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, everywhere. Cut to a boardroom. A man in a suit adjusts his tie. The camera lingers on the nameplate. Greg Abel, head of real estate, BlackRock. Greg Abel 2023 Q4 earnings call. Our tax optimization strategies continue to drive profitability in Florida. Single-family rentals are a core asset class for us. The boardroom fades, cut to a courthouse steps, a stack of legal filings. The top one reads, BlackRock versus Miami-Dade property appraiser. A judge's gavel slams down, off-screen a voice. Judge, case dismissed. The screen cuts to a gas station near Miami International Airport. A line of cars snakes into the distance. A sign reads, full service, $3.99 gallon. A man fills his tank. He turns to the camera, wiping his hands on his shirt. Juan Martinez, Miami resident. I used to fill up my car for $30. Now it's $100. My landlord, he got a tax break, said it was for economic development. Where's the development? My wallet's empty. The camera tightens on Juan's face. His eyes are bloodshot. Juan Martinez, they call it a tax abatement. I call it theft. Cut to a city council meeting in Tampa. A woman in a red blazer stands at the podium. The camera pans to the dais. Board members stare blankly ahead. City council member, we need to cover the $200 million gap in property tax revenue, so we're raising fees on trash collection, on water, on sewage. The woman's voice cracks. City council member, you know who doesn't pay? BlackRock, Invitation Homes, per diem. The corporate landlords flooding our market. They're bleeding us dry, and we're the ones left holding the bag. Screen flashes to a spreadsheet, columns of numbers. The top row reads, corporate landlords, $0 in taxes paid, residents, $200 million gap. The spreadsheet dissolves into a picture of a Florida home. The front yard is overgrown, the paint is peeling. A for rent sign sways in the wind. Cut to a man in a hard hat standing in front of a half-built apartment complex. The camera lingers on the scaffolding. The man's name tag reads, Frank Delaney, Invitation Homes. Frank Delaney, we're building the future of housing, affordable, sustainable, high quality. The camera pulls back. The apartment complex is surrounded by a chain-link fence. A pit bull growls from inside a trailer. Cut to a child's bedroom, a bunk bed, a dresser, a single light bulb. The camera lingers on the wall. A note is taped to it, rent due in 5 days. The child's voice muffled. Child off-screen, mom says we gotta move. She says we can't afford this no more. The screen cuts to black. The sound of a key turning in a lock echoes. Silence. Then the title slams onto the screen. Wall Street paid zero taxes. Florida's BILLS tripled. The screen fades to the host standing in front of a Florida neighborhood. She's holding a property tax bill. Her face is serious. The screen cuts to a graph. The x-axis reads years. The y-axis reads Florida property tax revenue. A red line plummets. A blue line spikes. The host's voice is sharp. Cut to a close-up of the host's eyes. The screen fades to black. Host VO, this is Systema Dark. And this is the story of how Wall Street hollowed out Florida, tax abatements, corporate loopholes, the collapse of the American dream. The screen cuts to a Florida road sign. It reads, Welcome to Florida, the Sunshine State. The sign flickers. The word sunshine glitches. It changes to shadow state, fade to black. Disclaimer, this documentary contains real financial and housing data. The individuals and locations depicted are composites based on public records and investigative reporting. No personal advice is given. Viewer discretion advised. In 2020, the average cost to insure a Florida home jumped 35% in a single year. By 2023, that same policy cost 56% more. But property taxes, a bill every Florida homeowner expects to rise, did something different. For many longtime residents, those levies stayed flat. For Wall Street firms buying up single-family homes by the thousands, property taxes didn't just stay flat, they collapsed. Aerial shot of a suburban Florida neighborhood. Individual homes flash on screen with red tax appeal banners. Source: Miami-Dade County property appraiser data shows corporate landlords now file appeals on 40% of high-value homes in the county properties worth $500,000 or more. Each appeal challenges the assessed value downward. And each downward adjustment means less tax revenue for schools, roads, and emergency services. Source: those appeals are reducing Miami-Dade's tax base by $200 million every year. That gap isn't being closed by cuts in services, it's being covered by the people who still pay the full bill, individual homeowners and renters. On screen, $200 million gap covered by local taxpayers. The mechanism is straightforward. Wall Street-backed firms like BlackRock and Invitation Homes now own more than 100,000 single-family homes across Florida. They don't just collect rent, they weaponize the tax system. Split screen, left side shows a BlackRock 10K filing. Right side shows a line item. Tax optimization strategies contribute to profitability. Source: BlackRock's 2023 annual report explicitly cites tax optimization strategies as a driver of its $12 billion portfolio of single-family rentals in Florida. These firms don't just appeal once. They file serial appeals exploiting Florida's constitution, which allows unlimited tax breaks for economic development, even when those breaks deliver no new jobs or infrastructure. Close-up of Florida Constitution, Article IX, Section 3. The legislature may grant exemptions to promote economic development. Source: investigative records obtained by Politico reveal that corporations are using loopholes to qualify for abatements without meeting basic requirements like local hiring or capital investment. The result is a two-tier tax system. Corporate landlords pay a fraction of what residents do, while the burden shifts onto individuals who can't afford armies of lawyers and appraisers. Animation: a pie chart splits a tax bill. Corporate slice shrinks to near zero. Resident slice grows. In Miami-Dade, the average single-family home owned by a resident pays about $5,200 in property taxes annually. A comparable home owned by a corporate landlord, after aggressive appeals, it pays closer to $1,800. That's less than 35% of the resident's bill. On screen, corporate landlords pay till to 35% of what residents pay. But the cost doesn't disappear, it migrates. Schools lose funding, fire stations stretch thin, and municipalities raise other fees, trash pickup, stormwater maintenance, even library fines to make up the difference. Shift to a quiet street. A local resident, Maria Rodriguez, stands in front of her home. Maria Rodriguez knows the shift firsthand. She's lived in the same Miami neighborhood for 25 years. Her property tax bill has crept up modestly, just enough to cover inflation, but her insurance bill, it has become a second mortgage. Last year, our insurance went up $2,400, she says. This year, the city raised stormwater fees by $300, and the county, they're talking about cutting library hours, all because big companies are telling the tax collector, our house isn't worth what you say it is. Over-the-shoulder shot of Rodriguez looking at her phone showing the fee increases. She's not alone. Miami-Dade's property appraiser confirmed that while individual appeals are filed for thousands of homes each year, the overwhelming majority come from corporate entities, often shell companies with no local presence. Source: those entities frequently use the same law firms, the same appraisers, and the same legal tactics to grind down assessments across entire zip codes. The strategy is systemic. It's not about a single error in valuation, it's about volume, it's about leverage, and it's about a legal framework that treats tax optimization as a form of investment return. Drone shot of a corporate-owned subdivision at dusk. Nearly identical homes stretch into the distance. Source: BlackRock's own filings describe its single-family rental strategy as a long-term play to capture yield through operational efficiency and tax management. In other words, buy homes, appeal taxes, extract savings, repeat, and the people left holding the bag, they're not just renters. They're homeowners whose property values are artificially suppressed by corporate-owned vacant homes sitting dark for months while appeals slog through the system. Aerial shot of a subdivision with several darkened homes. That suppression lowers the tax base further, it weakens neighborhood stability, and it pushes long-term residents toward selling, often to the same corporate buyers who started the cycle. Cut to housing activist Jamal Carter standing in front of a boarded-up home. Jamal Carter runs Miami Tenants United. For the past 2 years, he's tracked the surge in corporate purchases and the resulting spike in appeals. This isn't economic development, he says. It's wealth extraction disguised as investment. Corporations are vacuuming up homes, slashing their taxes with paperwork, and then jacking up rents because they know you have nowhere else to go. The tax system is rigged in their favor, and we're the ones paying the bill. Carter points to a boarded-up house with a for rent sign from a corporate landlord. His organization has documented cases where corporate landlords file appeals on homes they bought for $400,000, then get the assessed value cut to $250,000. The gap, covered by other taxpayers. Source: Miami-Dade data shows that over the past 3 years, 62% of all high-value home appeals were filed by corporate entities, despite owning only 8% of such homes. That imbalance tells the story. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed for those with the capital and the lawyers to exploit it. On screen, the tax system works for those who can afford the appeals. The Florida Constitution may say tax breaks must serve economic development, but investigative records show that in many cases, the only development happening is in the profits of Wall Street firms. Source: Politico's review of corporate filings found no evidence that these firms created new local jobs, built infrastructure, or contributed to community growth in exchange for their tax reductions. Instead, the burden falls on individuals like Rodriguez, who now faces a choice: pay the rising costs of living in a place she's called home for decades or sell and leave. Wide shot of Rodriguez walking to her car. Her neighborhood is quiet. The corporate-owned homes loom larger in the background. She doesn't want to leave, but she can't keep up. "This isn't the Florida I grew up in," she says. "Back then, taxes funded schools. Now they fund tax lawyers for billion-dollar corporations." Music fades to silence. The screen holds on Rodriguez's face. The numbers tell the rest: more corporate homes, more appeals, more shortfalls, more fees, more pressure. And in the end, the only ones paying full price are the people who can least afford it. The screen fades to black. A single line of text appears: leaked memo, hedge funds and Florida's landlords. What if the same firms shaping Wall Street's tax strategies, designed to pay zero, are now reshaping entire towns in Florida? A 2023 investigation by the New York Times uncovered a leaked internal memo showing how BlackRock, Invitation Homes, and other corporate giants aren't just buying up single-family homes, they're weaponizing Florida's tax system to slash their bills to nothing. Source: The New York Times, 2023. Their playbook: file aggressive tax appeals on high-value homes, not to lower rents but to gut municipal revenue. In Miami-Dade County alone, corporate landlords now account for 40% of appeals on high-value properties. The result: a $200 million annual shortfall in property taxes, a gap that doesn't vanish. It's covered by residents through higher rents, steeper fees, and cuts to schools and roads. Source: Miami Herald, 2023. The camera zooms in on a Florida town hall meeting. A resident stands up, voice trembling. "Our water pipes are bursting, but the budget's empty. How is that possible?" The answer lies in Florida's Constitution, a gift to corporations. A 2024 Politico investigation found that under the guise of economic development, companies exploit loopholes to claim unlimited tax abatements. But here's the kicker: they don't have to create jobs, they don't have to build infrastructure, they just have to ask. Source: Politico, 2024. A split screen: on the left, a sleek BlackRock office in Manhattan. On the right, a crumbling cul-de-sac in Lake Worth, Florida. The contrast is deliberate. BlackRock's own filings with the SEC reveal the strategy in plain sight. In its 2023 annual report, the firm boasts a $12 billion portfolio of single-family rentals in Florida, with tax optimization listed as a key driver of profitability. Translation: they're not just landlords. They're tax engineers, turning government services into their own free ride. Source: SEC Edgar, BlackRock 10K, 2023. A drone shot glides over a Florida neighborhood. Every third house wears a corporate sign. No families, no pets, just investors. This isn't speculation. It's a pattern across Florida. Cities are drowning in bills while Wall Street firms pay nothing. And when the money vanishes, who pays the price? Not the corporations, not the funds, the families left picking up the tab. Cut to a town council meeting in 2024. The mayor leans into the mic: "We had to cut fire department hours, we had to delay road repairs, all because the big players won't pay their share." This isn't just a tax issue, it's a betrayal of the social contract. Corporations demand roads, schools, and safety, then use legal loopholes to avoid funding them. The result: municipal budgets collapse, public services erode, and the people who do pay, homeowners and renters alike, are left holding the bag. The burden isn't just financial. It's existential. A family stands in their foreclosed home. A for rent sign hangs crooked in the yard. The camera lingers, no narration, just the sound of a screen door slamming in the wind. The system wasn't built for this, but it's being gamed, and the cost: it's not on paper, it's in the potholes, in the delayed ambulances, in the hollowed-out towns left behind. Fade to black. A single line appears: the bill always comes due. Aerial shot of a Florida neighborhood, rows of identical homes, once scattered with owner-occupied driveways, now lined with corporate for rent signs. The camera lingers on a single family rental sign bearing the BlackRock logo. Wall Street didn't just buy homes, it rewrote the rules of who pays for Florida's future. Firms like BlackRock and Invitation Homes now control over 100,000 single-family homes across the state, using sophisticated tax appeals to slash their property tax bills to near zero. Source: The New York Times, 2023. These same corporations then hike rents, strain infrastructure, and leave local governments scrambling to fill the funding gap. In Miami-Dade County alone, corporate landlords filed appeals on 40% of high-value homes, draining $200 million in annual tax revenue, a burden quietly shifted onto residents through higher municipal fees and service cuts. Source: Miami Herald, 2023. The system isn't broken, it's designed this way. Florida's constitution allows unlimited tax abatements for economic development, but investigative records reveal a pattern. Corporations exploit loopholes, claim job creation without delivering, and walk away with millions in tax relief. Source: Politico, 2024. BlackRock's own SEC filings confirm it's using tax optimization strategies as a core profit driver, all while families face soaring rents and towns cut essential services. Source: SEC Edgar, 2023. This isn't just about dollars, it's about democracy. When Wall Street gets a free pass, teachers, nurses, and firefighters pay the price. Homeowners see their bills triple, affordable housing disappears. And the people who built Florida's communities are pushed out. Change starts here. Contact your state representatives, demand an end to corporate tax loopholes in housing. Support legislation that ties tax breaks to real community benefit like affordable units, not offshore shell games. Final shot: a hand-pressing send on an email to a legislator. Fade to black. Your home shouldn't fund a billionaire's yacht. Demand accountability.